initiated a transfer from your Binance account, 19,000 and USDT.
The day after I had sent the money, and it never loaded onto my account. They refuse to process it or return it. They say I'm out of luck.
$20,000 of his stuff.
Yeah.
He cannot be the only person who makes this kind of a mistake. All right, Mr. Mobley, all set?
Yes.
All right, good afternoon to both parties.
Welcome back, court nerds. Today's case is a doozy. Imagine transferring $20,000 from one bank to another, but instead of arriving safely, the money disappears into thin air. That's what happened to this guy when he made a simple mistake with his cryptocurrency, something that's like digital money. Now he's stuck in a court fight with Coinbase, a big company that deals with this new kind of currency, trying to get his money back. This case shows how tricky and risky this whole digital money world can be. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Do you so swear?
I do.
Fantastic. All right. And Mr. Mobley, I remember kind of reviewing, I always read the petition before the hearing. I don't look into anything else because I never know what's going to happen when I come to court and what's going to be admissible. But just so I get the gist of it, Mr. Mobley, you initiated a transfer of funds. Those funds went to an account that you're not able to access, and so you're suing Coinbase to get that money. Is that correct?
Yes. I sent it to my own account on Coinbase. Yes. That Coinbase provided.
All right. And then the amount that you're seeking, how much are you seeking?
$19,999.
And how did you come to that number?
That's the amount that I had deposited. That does not include the interest that I also put in the petition.
Our jurisdictional limit is $20,000. Do you understand that
Yes.
So the amount at issue, the actual amount that you sent was $19,999.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Why don't you go ahead and give me kind of a recitation? What happened? Tell me when this happened. If you have a date, that'd be very helpful.
Yeah.
And I also, for both parties, I have no idea what Coinbase is, so maybe letting me know what that is too would be helpful.
All right. On July 13, 2023, I attempted to transfer 19,900 USDT. That's a type of cryptocurrency to my Coinbase account. I mistakenly sent those tokens using the Solana network instead of the Ethereum network. This was an honest mistake on my part. It's like mailing a letter but accidentally writing the wrong zip code on the envelope. The letter still reaches the correct building, but the recipient refuses to open it just because the zip code is incorrect. Coinbase is basically, just think of it as a bank where you can invest, you can grow your money. The transaction was successful and the funds arrived at a Coinbase controlled wallet. I can provide this with the following exhibits. Exhibit A shows the transaction details confirming the transfer of 19,999 USDT to the Coinbase controlled Solana address.
So who got the money, Mr. Mobley?
Coinbase has it. They have control over it.
Yeah. Listen, if I write a check to my mom and I give it, but I accidentally make it out to my neighbor, my mom does, like, that's what I'm asking. You weren't transferring money to your own account, or you were intending to transfer money to your own account, but instead you sent it to someone else's account.
Yes, Your Honor.
Whose account actually got your money? Do you know?
My account, but I don't have access to it.
Why don't you have access to your own account?
No, I don't have access to the funds because Coinbase has not delivered on them.
How many accounts did you have with Coinbase?
Just one account.
So you transferred from one account to the same account?
Yes. I transferred from a different exchange to Coinbase. I transferred funds I had on a different place to Coinbase.
Okay, so you had some cryptocurrency in another bank.
Yes.
And from that bank, you initiated a transfer to put it into your own account at Coinbase.
Yeah.
And where's the mistake that you made?
So Coinbase does not support the Solana network.
What is that?
That is basically, imagine I intend to send a box containing $20,000 in cash to Coinbase via FedEx ground shipping. but I mistakenly used an overnight air shipping label instead of a ground label. The package arrives at a Coinbase facility. They can see it's from me. They can open it. They can verify the contents. They have full control over it, yet they refuse to process it or return it, claiming we don't accept overnight packages for ground shipments.
But they didn't send it back to you.
No, and
What is Solana?
that's a cryptocurrency, and they have they have their own blockchain.
Is that like I have to pay in dollars, but I sent euros?
Yes.
So Coinbase doesn't deal in that type of crypto.
Yes.
And what type of crypto were you transferring?
USDT, which is a stable coin, which is pegged to the US dollar. So if I have 20,000 USDT, it equates to $20,000.
But what was it actually called? What type of cryptocurrency was it in?
USDT.
That's the name of the crypto?
What was?
Okay, you had an account on
Yes.
July 13th. You're sitting at a computer, right? And you opened up an account at some bank where you had crypto. What bank was that?
What Coinbase? I mean, what bank did I transfer it from?
Correct.
Binance.
It's called Binance,
Yes.
like finance, but with the B.
Yes.
Okay. And so you're with Binance, and in your Binance account, was that called USDT or was it called Solana? Was it called something else? Like if I have a bank in Mexico, it's in pesos. And if I transfer that to Switzerland, I'm going to the Deutsche. And if I'm going from there to Italy, it's going to the euro. And I bring it to America, it's different. So what was the actual thing that you were holding in the Binance account? What was that type of currency?
USDT, which is a stable coin. Yes.
Okay. And so you initiated a transfer from your Binance account, 19,000 and USDT crypto over to Coinbase.
Correct.
So what is Solana and how does that get involved?
Solana is a type of network. So just imagine, like, instead of sending it through ground, I instead sent it through air. It's just a different type of delivery method.
Okay, so Coinbase gets this USDT crypto transfer via Solana, and what happened to it after they got it?
They refuse to process it or return it. They say I'm out of luck. They have it. They have access to it. They're able to use it however they like.
So they still have your 19,000 USDT.
Correct.
Is USDT a currency or a type of crypto that Coinbase accepts?
Yes.
So if you had not made the mistake of using this Solana as the transfer method or the shipper, you would have access to your funds in your Coinbase account with no issue.
Correct.
But they won't give it back to you.
Correct.
Okay. Is there an actual market for USDT to transfer into dollars?
Yes.
Where would I find that?
Coinbase actually does that themselves. They actually provide that service.
So if you had not made a mistake and you had gotten your Binance USDT crypto sent over to Coinbase, could you have withdrawn 19,000 American dollars from Coinbase?
Yes.
Mr. Leader?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct? If he had not made a mistake, would have been able to withdraw an actual dollar bills, that amount of money of the transfer?
Yeah, if he had sent it on the correct network.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he had not made a mistake, if he had done it correctly, he would have been able to pull out. Do you agree that 19,000 of USDT would have been 19,000 American dollars?
Yeah, minus a small transaction fee, yes.
Okay, but otherwise they're pretty much one-to-one.
Yep.
All right, good to know. All right. Mr. Mobley, I'm curious. On the Coinbase operating terms, like when you opened your account, do they give you information about what method of delivery they need you to use or that's required?
Do they give me what method I need to use?
Yeah, so you use Solana.
Yes.
Is that a choice you made?
So look, whenever I'm transferring assets to another, like say I'm trying to do that same thing on a different exchange, it would work. It would work perfectly. Most major exchanges, if not all, besides Coinbase, do not do this. And that was a complete surprise to me.
That didn't answer my question. You're in your Binance account. You want to transfer the money.
Yes.
Do you have a select, like, do you have, like, if I want to mail you something, I can choose FedEx or DHL or USPS. I can go UPS. Do you have a choice when you're initiating a transfer of what method you're going to use to transfer the crypto from one bank to the other?
Yes.
What were your choices that you had available to you from Binance to Coinbase?
I had Solana, I had Tron, I had Ethereum, I had a bunch of about 7 different networks I could use.
And had you ever transferred money to your Coinbase account from anyone before?
From anyone before? Yes, yes, I had.
Okay. And in the Coinbase, when you opened up your account with Coinbase, did they give you information about how to use your account there?
How to use my account. So
Right. Like my bank says we aren't open on Sundays. If you cash a check or you write a check and it overdrafts within a certain amount of money, we'll go ahead and process it for you and then charge you a fee, so that I knew when I open up my checking account, I get 1 box of checks free. And then after that, I got to pay money for them, that they won't, if checks that get cashed on a Friday aren't available for me to use until the following Tuesday. Did they give you any terms and conditions with your Coinbase account? You may not have read them, but did they give you the standard scroll down and check, okay, here's how you use your account?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And had you familiarized yourself with the terms and conditions for how to use your Coinbase account, or the restrictions or limitations that they had?
No, I would say I had not, no.
Okay. So when you transferred the money from Binance, you selected Solana?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
whenever I transferred the money,
And so that was your preference, was to use Solana.
yes.
But you found out later that Coinbase doesn't allow that as one of the methods of delivery, or that's not, they won't use that transfer.
Correct. And I did believe they did, because Solana is a supported cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I got it. You made a mistake. I understand. But I'm just saying is that it told you afterward, we don't do that.
Yes.
And was there anything, who does Coinbase want you to use? Do they have that in their conditions and terms?
Do they have what now?
Does Coinbase tell you in the user agreement what methods they will accept? Right, like you said, there were 7 options. Which ones do they like?
Okay, so for USDT, it's just one network.
And what's
Now,
that one?
Yes, and now they do have a competing network. A competing coin, a competing stable coin, which they make profits on, that has 7 networks, which is USDC.
For Coinbase, you said that if you're transferring to Coinbase USDT, they only allow one method of delivery.
Yes.
And who is that?
Ethereum, through the Ethereum.
Ethereum. Okay. When did you find out that Coinbase only allows you to use Ethereum to transfer in USDT?
Probably the day after I had sent the money, and it never loaded onto my account. I contacted support many times. They told me they can't help, blah blah blah.
All right, so you made the transfer, you went to Coinbase to access your funds, you discovered that you couldn't access your funds because you had sent it via Solana and not Ethereum.
Yes.
And then you contacted Coinbase and said, hey, send the money back to Binance?
Yes, I tried either having them fully converted to USDT on the Ethereum.
They said they're not doing that.
Yes.
Did you ask them to send it back to where it came from?
Yes.
And did they do that?
No.
Did they give you a reason why they won't send it back to Binance?
Nope.
So in essence, they have, as you said, a package of your stuff that's just sitting in their warehouse.
Basically.
They won't process it, but they won't give it back to you either.
Yes.
Mr. Leader?
Yep.
I absolutely understand the defendant's position that he made a mistake. It's his own mistake. But why do you get to keep stuff that's not y'all's?
Hold on.
Why not refund it in the exact same method?
Yes. First of all, did you receive the exhibits that were submitted?
Yeah, I saw that you did it. I'm just basic question.
Yeah.
He sent it. He made a mistake. It's there. There's no doubt that y'all got it. Why not just send it back?
The big answer is it comes down.
Go ahead.
No, I understand the question. It's really a technological and a security issue, right? In order to send back the cryptocurrency that was received, it will require certain. Engineers would have to build out certain tools that don't exist, and it's a security issue. So in order for any one person to be able to do that, we'd have to reconstruct a private key that would control funds for untold number of customers, could be up to millions of dollars worth, and so it's a security issue.
Mr. Leader, all of what you just said went into an ether for me. I have no idea what you just said.
No problem.
We're going to get down to you're an attorney, so hear me with this.
Sure.
Unjust enrichment. This guy sent you something which y'all have already agreed has a major value to it. You yourself said to me that it's a one-on-one. So you got $20,000 of his stuff.
Yeah.
He cannot be the only person who makes this kind of a mistake. So there has to be a mechanism by which you get him back his money.
Right. And the issue is it's not technologically possible right now. In order for that to be possible, it would take a lot of engineering resources to build that tool. It's not as simple as just sending it back.
And y'all figure it out and keep the money yourselves.
We're not keeping it. It's being held. And when this tool is built,
that's a great lawyer answer. Funds. It's not being. We're not keeping it. It's being held.
Held for him. Yeah. We're not taking it.
He wants it.
Yeah. And I would love to give it back to him, but I just can't. We don't have the tool to do that right now. It would take a lot. The engineering teams have to build that tool.
Can't y'all just send it back using Solana the way it came?
The problem is we can't. Right. I wish it was so simple. Right?
Why not?
It's not as just like you don't just press a button. There's a lot of engineering work under the hood that would have to in order to process a transaction. We're talking probably millions of dollars worth of engineer time to build this tool in order to send it back securely, right? It's all about security, right?
But it came to y'all that way, right?
Correct. Yes.
Why'd y'all accept it if it's going to put you into arrears like this? Because I absolutely find that y'all got his stuff.
Great question. Because it's an open permissionless protocol. We can't stop people from sending things in. If we could, we would. It's impossible to it's like a Dropbox. Anyone can put anything they want in that Dropbox. Mm-hmm. So that's why we specifically say we can only accept this version on this network. And Plaintiff,
y'all allowed him to send it to you because you put up no protocols whatsoever.
Well, right? There's no ability to prevent it.
Anyone can just stick it in the Dropbox.
Anyone can do it. There's nothing we can do to stop it, right? Nothing we can do to prevent him from sending. Right?
You've still got his stuff. When do you anticipate getting it back to him?
I think I don't have an exact timeline. I think they're going to be working on it probably next year. They're working on supporting that.
He's not waiting next year for $20,000 because he made a mistake. That seems ridiculous. And if I'm looking at who has the better parity here, it's definitely you guys over this individual who's using your service. And y'all charge him a fee for his service at some point, right?
Not for sending and receiving, no.
If he wanted to cash it out, you were going to get a percentage of that, right?
A small fee, yeah.
Yeah. And is that how y'all make money as a business?
Trading fees, yes.
Do you have any sense, I'm just curious, about how many people make that mistake?
How many? I don't know the number. But
it's not just him. That's why you're working on a solution.
Right. That's true. It's not just him.
So lots of people have mistakenly sent y'all money that you're holding until you have a solution to send it back to them.
Or credit their account, right? We don't want, we're not trying to take his funds. We want him to have it, right?
Can you credit his account? Because that's what he asked for.
Right, but the thing is we can't right now. It's inaccessible, right? It's almost like he sent it to a warehouse that's locked, and we have to build the tool to unlock it. And it's very expensive and time consuming to build that tool to unlock it. So it's millions of dollars to build the tool to unlock it just to access his 20,000.
Can you give me some type of analogy to help me understand why you can't get into the account that it's y'all's building, right? You built the warehouse. You don't have a way to open up the warehouse?
Essentially, it's the key. Imagine there's a key that would open that warehouse.
Even if I create a Dropbox in your example,
right.
I'm the one who has the access to the Dropbox, and I can go in there and delete things and send in and say, why did this person keep sending this stuff in here, and get rid of it? So how do you not have control over the thing in which he was allowed to deposit?
Well, it's that no one person has control. So there's a lot of like security measures in place, because ultimately there's a lot of funds that could potentially be accessed by anyone. What he's asking for is just unlock it and send it back, right? Well, there's a lot of there could be a lot of other customers' funds in that one warehouse, right?
But
so
y'all
we
have a record of that.
So we have to put in, we basically have to put in a lot of like controls in place to make sure that everything is accessed appropriately. So it's not as simple as just like unlock the key. It's like, no, the key is held in a very secure place that only a few people have access to.
Who are those people?
Certain engineers with high level access.
With y'all's company?
Yes.
I'm just, it's falling, it seems very, but for the fact that y'all don't have it worked out yet, you would otherwise give him his money back, right?
Yep.
But you don't have any sense of when that's going to happen.
If I were to guess, I would say Q1 2025.
What does he get for waiting all that time?
What does he get? He learned a very valuable lesson. I don't know. It's like, what does he get? I mean, I think that the issue here is that Plaintiff is clearly a sophisticated cryptocurrency user. It's standard practice to send what's called a test send, right? And that's to make sure you're doing it correctly, right? Normally you do 10 cents of $1, whatever. So to specifically prevent this outcome. So we have customers, sending $20,000 on a whim like this. That's very risky.
I think y'all are in a risky world, right?
Agreed.
Crypto, nothing about crypto is old-fashioned or traditional. Y'all are intentionally disrupting money markets. So everything about that is, and sophisticated bakers don't test it first. They just go ahead and do the whole thing, right? When you get your hair dyed, they say do a strand test first, and yet people do their whole head. And that's Solana. So I just think the idea that he could have tested $1 and learned from his own lesson, I find that one, he could have, should have, would have. But ultimately, he did make a mistake. That's not a dispute. Right. He sent y'all something. Got it. Y'all don't want it, but you can't give it back to him.
I'm saying the resources that were required to give it, quote unquote, give it back would dwarf the amount of money that is currently being held, right? So if I have to pay millions of dollars worth of engineering time, right? People have to sit there and write the code in order to unlock this, right?
So
the code is not written.
All the people that have made this mistake, you've got this warehouse that's got people's funds in it, and y'all can't get into it. What happens to that warehouse of funds eventually?
They eventually want. If and when we support that token or that network, it will be credited to their account.
What if you never support it?
Then it remains in limbo and they never have access to it.
Is this like, I can go to the Secretary of State and look for unclaimed funds from class actions I didn't realize I was a part of. Are y'all going to be required to turn these things over?
I don't think so. That's why we put this specifically in the user agreement, because we can't. Again, it's a lot of engineering resources to unlock this, and we'd have to, construct or build a key for each one of these resources. So if someone sends us $10 worth of some obscure token that we're never going to support, to be required to spend millions of dollars in engineering time in order to to provide that support doesn't make any economical sense. So that's why that's why we put this in the user agreement in multiple places, specifically saying we are not liable if you make the exact mistake that plaintiff admits that he made.
It comes back down for me. I feel like this is unjust enrichment because this does have value to it. And he made a mistake, and I get your terms and conditions,
right.
But you don't have a mechanism by which as an entity, you can return something that came in.
I mean, we have to build it, right?
I understand that, but you didn't build it in advance before putting this out there. And
well,
you have a bank that allows people to deposit into it with apparently any way they want to send it to you. Y'all accept it. But then once you take it in, you say, oh, no, I can't give it back to you because you sent it to me the wrong way.
So I appreciate the analogy. I just think that it's a little simplistic for what actually is happening, right? It's technologically, it's not as simple as, again, just opening up a door and taking it out, right?
But it was technologically easy enough to just open the door and send it in.
Well, that's the thing. It's an open network. No one could. It's like if someone has your email address, anyone in the world could send you an email. In fact, you probably get a lot of spam, right? And that's like saying, why didn't you stop the spammer? You can't. If they know your address, anyone in the world could send it to. You can't stop that, right? And then it's like, well, why didn't you send that email back? Okay, well, for that email sent on the wrong network, we'd have to build a tool, right? We'd have to send 10 engineers for 2 months to build this tool in order to send it back. Each network would require that. I'm just giving rough numbers here, but
I say for me, the email one doesn't make sense because I can literally just reply and copy and paste and send you back the email.
Right, because that exists, right? Now imagine a world where like the reply button, it doesn't exist yet for that type of email, right? And you're like, well, build the reply button. Okay, it's going to take us some time to build that, right?
In your terms and conditions, does it specifically highlight like, hey, if you make a mistake, we're never giving you your stuff back? Or does it just say you're responsible?
Yeah, if you look at Exhibit 3, that says it's number 4.3.
Let's take a look. User agreement 4.3. Give me a second. It's loading. I have all my exhibits still open from the previous case. Let me just close all those. Okay. I'm going to share my screen and we'll look at it. Let's read it together. Inbound digital asset transfers. When you or a third party send digital assets to a Coinbase wallet from an external wallet not hosted on Coinbase, the person initiating the transaction is solely responsible for executing the transaction properly, which includes ensuring that the digital asset being sent is a supported digital asset that conforms to the particular wallet address to which funds are directed, including any required destination tag or memo. By initiating, and this is bolded, by initiating an inbound transfer, you attest that you are transacting in a supported digital asset that conforms to the particular wallet address to which funds are directed. For example, if you select an Ethereum wallet address to receive funds, you attest that you are initiating an inbound transfer of Ethereum alone and not any other digital asset such as Bitcoin or Ethereum Classic. If you select a Bitcoin wallet address to receive funds, you attest that you're initiating an inbound transfer of Bitcoin alone and not any other digital asset like Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum. Coinbase incurs no obligation whatsoever with regard to unsupported digital assets sent to a Coinbase account or with regard to supported digital assets sent to an incompatible digital asset wallet address. All such erroneously transmitted digital assets will be lost.
Right.
What is an erroneously transmitted digital asset?
Exactly what happened in this case. Plaintiff admits he made a mistake and he erroneously transferred that digital asset. So this basically the issue is it's a legal question, right? And
that's why we're here.
Right, exactly. And our right comes from the contract, right? And so yes, it's unfortunate. Yes, I would like to promise and say at some point in the future we're going to build this tool and support that asset. But this contract, which plaintiff agreed to, does not obligate us to do so, and specifically warns if you send it incorrectly, it will be lost. We are not going to incur any liability. And that's
Right.
why if you pair that with the section 4.1, which is exhibit 4, that's, I'll let that load.
In general, your asset wallet enables you to send supported digital assets to, request, receive, and store them from third parties by giving instructions through the Coinbase site. Your transfer of assets between your other digital wallets is a digital asset transfer. We recommend customers send a small amount to test before coming through.
Right. And so
All right,
it's
right.
precisely because of the situation that
Mr.
we
Leader,
put, yeah.
when was this provided to the plaintiff?
If you look at exhibit 1, it shows that he agreed to these terms on February 8, 2023, most
And
recently.
are all of the terms that you just showed me included in the user agreement for him?
Yes.
And are they called out or highlighted in any fashion, or is it just here's your contract, sign it and understand what you've read?
That this specific portion or the user agreement itself?
This specific portion.
This specific portion at the time of agreeing to the user agreement is not highlighted. But what I will say is that when you go to generate your address, so plaintiff, in order to know where to send it to, he has to generate an address. And when you generate the address, there's also warnings on the address generation screen that says you can only send this cryptocurrency to this address. So we are protected under the user agreement, but we also try to warn customers not to do it again at the time that they go to make a deposit. I have an, if I can share my screen, I can show you what this looks like. That might be helpful. Okay, can you see my screen?
I see a QR code.
Okay, so yeah, it's a QR code. You can either scan it with your phone, or you can, this long string of letters and numbers, that's the actual address, right? And so this is what it would look like when he went to go retrieve his address. And it says, this is a Solana address. This is what he sent it to. And notice it says here, only send Solana to this address. He sent USDT to this address. If you click on that little icon right there to give you more information, this warning will pop up and says, this is the Solana network address. Do not send Solana over any other network to this address, or your funds may be lost. What he should have done is generated an address for USDT, which is what he was trying to send. And if he had done that, it would have said USDT on the Ethereum network. And it would have said, only send this on the Ethereum network. It would have had a similar warning. So that's what happened here, right? I mean, that's the mistake. He moved very quickly, trying to send a lot of money, right? Without doing a test send. He could have prevented it had he done that. We advise him in the user agreement to do a test send. We warn that if you send it erroneously, it will be lost. So I understand it seems unfortunate. I agree. But there's a reason why we can't prevent it, right? Anyone that has this address can send anything on the Solana network to that address, but we only support.
Maybe don't keep showing it then. We're live and on the internet. I don't know.
Okay.
Based on what you said. So, okay, Mr.
No,
Mobley.
I mean, yeah.
Mr. Leader, you've given me some very good information. So, Mr. Mobley, let's look at that as we saw it. So, in the terms and conditions, it very clearly says if you make a mistake, pretty much you're out of luck, right? And in a much harsher way, I can think that, but you're out of luck. So, how about his information that when you created the address, it would have said only use this account or only use this network? Did that happen?
So initially, Coinbase does give you a warning. It's a one-time warning if you select the thing. Like do not show again. And it's very intrusive.
But it's in your terms and conditions. Is there any dispute that the agreement you have with Coinbase contains section 4.1 or 4.3 that says it's on you to make sure you do it right, and if you make a mistake, you do so at your own risk of losing all your money?
Yes, but I think that's unconscionable.
So you're not disagreeing that it says it. You're getting into an unjust portion of things. You believe it's unconscionable to say that.
Yes.
All right. And how about the second portion of it when he says that when you created it, it would have said only do this on that network? Any dispute that that's how it looks on your end and that you ignored that or overlooked it?
So in my head, I was thinking it says only send sold to this address. Now, USDT on the Solana network is an SLP token, which is, in my head, I would classify that as Solana. So it supports Solana and these other coins as well.
But as he showed me, that's accurate.
Yes.
Okay. So there's really no dispute about the facts here. Mr. Mobley, you made a mistake that is a mistake anticipated by the contract that Coinbase provided you that says, don't make this kind of mistake or you're going to run the risk of losing your money. And the position, Mr. Mobley, is that to enforce that term against you would be unconscionable.
Yes.
And Mr. Leader,
Mhm.
how would you respond to that?
I would say to force us to provide support for this currency that we specifically say we don't support would be unconscionable in the other direction, right? If every customer made this mistake and we would be required to support it, despite the fact that we haven't agreed to support it, you're saying, in effect, that we'd have to put in more engineering resources to build support for this thing that we are not obliged to support because the customer made a mistake. That's exactly why we put the warnings in place. We spent a lot of time trying to make that user experience as safe as possible. We specifically put it in the user agreement, and it's in our help pages too. We didn't review it, but if you see Exhibit 2, you know, there. If you want to be sure before making a send, like what if this is a confusing thing? I think Plaintiff is somewhat of a sophisticated user. He clearly has accounts in multiple locations, right?
Yeah, but your terms and conditions apply to everyone, including first-time users, right?
That
So
is
if
true.
he was not a
That is true.
sophisticated user, would that change? I mean, how does that factor into your defense? Right?
I think that
you're going
yeah.
strictly on contract. We said it. We made
Yep.
it clear. It's bolded. You agreed to it. You're stuck with what you agreed to.
Agreed. Yep.
And that the reason we put it there is because it's outrageously expensive for us to hedge around that.
Exactly.
Okay, now y'all given me a really interesting set of facts, right? I will say this is definitely a first impression. It's a new and uncharted territory. I can hear arguments both ways. I definitely, as I said early on, the first thing that occurred to me is straight up unjust enrichment. And Mr. Leader, when I said, what happens, if tomorrow your engineers come to a miraculous breakthrough and y'all can't access this warehouse, what are you gonna do with all the funds that people have made mistakes on? Because obviously you know that it's gonna happen. Y'all anticipated it by the fact that it's in the contract, right? So this must be happening. And I gotta think if he made a mistake, other sophisticated people or unsophisticated people are sending equal amounts. And it doesn't take a whole lot before suddenly you've got millions sitting in this warehouse. So when you finally unlock it, that's going to cost you a lot of money to try to figure out who sent you all those things. Are y'all going to automatically refund? And what if you never
automatically
find people?
Automatically. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. Once the tool is built, it will automatically be done, right?
But y'all may never build it.
Well, I can't say that I do believe we will, right? I think it's on our pipeline, but it's not my department. I can't promise that. What I will say is that the Ethereum network, which we support the USDT on, is 10 times maybe more popular on Coinbase than Solana. And you're right, customers were sending the wrong currency there. So we did build support. We built a tool, a recovery tool, to ameliorate this exact situation. And what happened? Yes, there were some customers that had their funds inaccessible for a while, sometimes up to over a year. But once we built this tool, they now were able to retrieve those funds. If we supported,
tool won't work for him.
Once we build it, it will, right? But we haven't built it for Solana. Solana is a new network, right? And this is exactly why we put this in the user agreement, because we know eventually we want to build this tool, but we don't have the resources to build it today, right? I'm not on the business team. I don't choose what we're building and why, but I know that eventually we plan on supporting this tool. And so I said to plaintiff, I'm said, yes, when we build this tool, if and when we support this asset, it will get credited to your account.
Okay, Mr. Mobley, Mr. Leader, I'll just be realistically, I'm not going to be able to make a decision today. I want to do a little bit of research. And so I'm just curious, Mr. Leader, any case law that you might want to direct me to here? Because I'll go back and I'm going to do my Lexis and case law search. But if you already know of some, because I mean, I think like, this isn't an FDIC account, right? Y'all aren't covered by anything. You're in kind of the wild west of new funds. Has there been anything already that's been decided either here in Texas or in the Fifth Circuit that might give me, and Mr. Mobley, that's not because I would take that as sacrosanct. It's just if he's aware as an attorney, he might.
Yeah. I just wanted to.
I'm going to do my own looking into things. I'm just, if he knows of something already,
Yeah.
I'm curious because sometimes people can say, yes, actually, we've already had this litigated, or there's a case that's very similar.
Sorry, the connection cut out for a bit. So you were asking about case law.
Yeah, if you already know of anything that might be something I would want to take a look at, or cases that have already been heard in similar vein.
Yeah, there's a similar one. It's called the case, I think it's Coinbase v. Archer. It was in a different jurisdiction, but there the issue was customer.
Was that Texas? What do you remember? What state
that was? I think it was in district court in California, I believe. Okay. And that was about the customer, similar issue with a different asset, and he was trying to compel us to provide support for that asset. And the court there ruled that no, we don't have to provide support for that asset. I can try to pull up a citation if that would be helpful.
What is the state of the law with this? Is there, I mean, besides y'all's own personal lawsuits, any journals that have already been written about this? I mean, is this going to be something I could put together for for the bar? I mean, this is a brand new kind of world, right?
This is, case law is currently unfolding. We are at the, we are doing it. This is it. I would look to, it's called Archer v. Coinbase. This was decided in 2020 in the Court of Appeal. That's the first district in California. So that's major case law that Coinbase was a part of. I can't speak to others off the top of my head right now. I'm happy to see if I can dig up some more and provide it to you afterwards.
That's fine. Just if you already had any sense of it, right, for what that is. All right. Any last things that y'all want to leave? Because I absolutely get, this is a real, I mean, this is just basic contracts, right? The contract says you can't do something. If you make that mistake, you're stuck with it. Mr. Mobley, your position is one that I'm understandable to, right? I don't know whether my sympathies and my empathies are different than where the law may come down, but I absolutely understand Mr. Mobley's position that, sure, it said that, yes, I made the mistake, but to enforce it in such a way is to be unconscionable because I am now out a substantial amount of money and potentially forever, maybe only a year, but potentially if, let's say, I don't think about Coinbase, but let's say it all goes, I don't know, the world changes dramatically in the next few weeks and Coinbase ceases to exist. Mr. Mobley stands a chance to never, ever, ever get back these funds that what he mistakenly sent.
I guess so, but then that means Coinbase is on the hook for that mistake, right? I mean,
are you? And I don't know. Like, I mean, if I put my money, we went through this with bank runs, right? There's a reason the FDIC exists. Is there any type of insurance for cryptocurrency through Coinbase? If y'all go bankrupt tomorrow, do you have to pay out anything, or is that just something for the bankruptcy courts to settle out? Is there a pot of money that's required to be reserved to pay out your depositors?
There's no requirements based on that.
Yeah, right.
So regulations currently being decided right now as we speak, right? This is happening, right?
Like insurance companies are required to keep a certain amount of money in capital so that if they have a run of claims, they can pay them out.
Right. So we have
that because this is kind of a new thing.
We have insurance as far as like cybersecurity insurance, if there's like a, theft
CrowdStrike.
insurance, right? Yeah, sure. So we have insurance for that. But regarding this situation, it's almost like a technological issue, right? It's not like the funds are there. We have to build the tool, and to require us to build this tool to unlock it. I mean that's why the case law I pointed out. I would recommend.
I get your position is right. But if there's no backup if something goes wrong with Coinbase, potentially anyone who's deposited money with the company, even if they did it correctly, may never be able to recover.
I mean, I guess that it's a possibility. In the event that we went bankrupt, I mean, I know that we hold these funds, so there's not like a mismatch. In traditional banking system, there's a deposit mismatch of duration, right? They're loaning out funds. We're not doing that, right? Like all the funds are held in storage, right? Now, in the unlikely event that like there's a crazy hack or whatever and funds are stolen and that, right? We have insurance to cover that scenario, right? And that's the only one that I can imagine where it would cause this issue of like, where are the funds? We open the vault, there's nothing there, right?
Does the insurance cover this warehouse that y'all can't access?
I don't know the answer to that question, to be honest. But like I said, it's my understanding and my hope that this tool will be built hopefully next, in a couple quarters. But I went when this problem happened. I tried to work with. I mean, I don't want this to happen. It's a terrible customer experience, right? So I said, is this on the roadmap? Are we building this out? And they're like, not this year, right? Likely next year, but they can't promise anything. Things change. Solana could become the most popular network in the world. People could stop using it, right? And so then it turns into a decision that's well above my pay grade, right? I did try to reach out to Plaintiff to try to reach a settlement, and just because I agree it's not a good user experience. But I'm pretty confident that the law's on our side. There's a reason why we put this in the user agreement. There's a reason why we put these warnings in place. We put these help pages, make them available so that customers do not make this exact mistake.
Could I just add something?
Absolutely, Mr. Mobley. And then absolutely.
Coinbase is licensed in Texas as a money service business. They have a duty of care to their customer protections. He stated that it would cost millions of dollars to create this tool, yet they make billions a year. Billions. There's many other people like me. I've had many people message me. I had made a post online, had many people message me not knowing what to do. All customer service says is, oh, sorry, your funds are lost. We can't do anything about it. They have the private keys which control the wallet, so they can send money, they can fix this, fix that. He did state that there is people, engineers that can do it. Why don't they do it? I don't know.
All right. Y'all have given me quite a bit to consider. I am going to do some research, so I will be realistic and tell you that I would not expect a ruling from me for at least a week. All right, like this is just brand new. I already know that I've got on the rest of my week docket. Every day I have hearings, y'all. Justice Court is a beautiful thing. I love it, but every single day, morning and afternoon, we've got hearings. Tomorrow I'll be all day with dockets and same thing. So a realistic timeline for me, baby, end of next week. Okay. But you will get a 9 for me. And I will quite likely, I'm not required to give y'all a written opinion, but I will, if there are specific things that I find that help me reach a decision one way or the other, I'll let you guys know that. Okay. And then your right to appeal, both Mr. Mobley and Mr. Leader on behalf of Coinbase, will not kick in until I give you the order, and the date on the order will be the date that we send it to you, and then it would be 21 days from that. Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you both very much again.
Thank you.
I love cases of first impression, but y'all have brought me something very, very new. I just don't, right? I don't, usually I can call another judge and say, hey, what do you think? But I don't think I'll be like, I'll have a good story to share with other courts pretty soon. Like, let me tell you what I learned and looking at this very specific type of case, which is yes, it's about a new technology, and that is part of the defense that's risen there. But there is also just an underlying, like, is this okay in a contract? Are there any principles that I need to look at? Essentially, in Mr. Mobley's case. Okay.
Yes. Well,
All
thank
right.
you for hearing me out.
Thank
Thank
y'all
you, Your
very
Honor.
much. All parties are excused for now. We will issue that order and we'll get it to you.
Unfortunately, we don't have the final verdict yet, but this case is a real eye-opener for anyone thinking about diving into the world of crypto. We'll be keeping a close eye on the outcome, and we'll keep you in the loop. In the meantime, how many of you cool cats have dipped your toes into the crypto waters? Ever made a slip up like this? Let us know how easy it is to make a mistake in this wild new world.
If you're involved in a dispute with another party such as this and you just can't seem to work it out, don't resort to taking the law into your own hands. You take them to court.